Hi everyone, NixUser here. So about a year ago I did a video on Sway, and Sway is a replacement for i3 on the Wayland protocol. Now what I'm going to show you today is a bit of an issue that I came across. I'm going to emulate that issue, and then I'm going to show you how to build Sway properly. Now Sway has a dependency which is called WLC, and if I go into here, WLC is basically it's a library, a high-level library for building Wayland compositors. So without any further ado, I'm going to just do the vanilla install that I did. I'm on Debian stretch. This is about as vanilla as you can get. There are a few minor changes that I've made for myself, but nonetheless it's fairly vanilla. So I've got some package lists that we can go through. I've got a root terminal here that I'm going to do the installations of packaged source code. Packaged binaries. And what I'm going to do from there is I'll build up the libraries that we need from both the binary and the source code, and then finally and deliver Sway and then replicate this issue. So without any further ado, let's cat this guy, and I need all of these guys. Okay, there might be a little bit of duplication there. Don't worry about these two as of yet, but there might be a little bit of duplication in this, so bear that in mind. So I'm just going to copy those. Now, where I find it's just a little bit too tedious and slow, I will fast forward it. So don't be surprised if you see a little bit of fast forwarding during this video. I want to focus on the main concerns about this. So the basic idea is anyway that a person would download the code from GitHub, that is the Sway code and the WLC, not really look too deeply at the documentation. In fact, I erroneously went into the incorrect documentation for a different language, not believing that was actually one for English. I just missed it. So I'll show you where that happens, and you'll see it's kind of important. So let's just continue this build. Okay, so we also have some dependencies for Sway, so we'll just do those now. So we'll just copy that. I painstakingly determined these by going through package management and also through the list of published dependencies in the source code README files. That being said, you won't need to install everything, like for example ASCII doc. I wouldn't recommend installing this because it increases the install by about 1 gig. So you don't really want to do that. I guess while we're at it, what we can do is, now that we've got Git installed, we can actually go ahead and with the Sway download. We don't need to do that. We just need to grab the source code, Sway. Okay, so grab that, and the usual git clone. And while we're at it, so that's on this terminal here, we'll go to this one and we'll do much the same. This time for WLC. So we'll just git clone and just let that do its biz. Won't take very long. So what we can do now is we can begin the WLC build once this down here gets to 100%. So we'll just go cd WLC. Okay, and we're gonna cat the README file. So let's have a look. So we need to do this first. That's fine. So we're just going to follow the bouncing ball at this point. Okay, that's great. So now I think it just tells you some of the dependencies here. These are the ones that are absolutely hard dependencies, and here are some optional dependencies. You would have noted those in the libraries that I suggested installing from package management. And it doesn't really tell you much here. It just says for login D support. It's not really It's not really clear exactly what that is going to do, but I'm going to make that very clear for you in a moment. So we're just going to grab this and again, we're just sort of, as I say, following the bouncing ball. We need to use cmake, which we installed before as a build dependency. So it's going to go nice and smoothly there. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do the make and then make install. So you can see make and then we will do the make install. So let's do that now. So it won't take very long since I'm using J3 in this virtual machine. So that's done. And what I'm going to do is just go into WLC and then say make install. Oh, sorry, I need to go into target first. It's important. And then do make install. Okay, so that's great. So now we're going to go back to looking at sway, and we've almost done the clone, so it shan't be too much longer. And once it's done, we'll just get to it. But we'll fast forward at this point. Okay, so that's complete, and we can get on with the sway build. So cd into sway, and everything's looking so good so far. I thought this was actually UK as in Great Britain, and I was just, if I go less readme, I was reading that one, and obviously I was just going for the commands, looking for the dependencies, which was obvious, and then the how to build. And at this point I was quite confused, but I contacted the lead developer of Sway, who advised me that there was definitely what I was looking for was definitely in the README. So and then I realised this was the README I needed. So let's take a look at that. So we just go down, and in fact it might even be better if I look at in vim readme.md. And everything will be nice colourful. So so yeah, let's have a bit of a look at this. So there's some details about this systems with login D, and you need to set a few caps, which are, it turns out that are capabilities. You can look at set cap, and it's about capabilities in relation to system D, the service manager, basically system and service manager. But that aside, we'll just follow the build instructions and go from there. So let's queue this. So just so we can get on with the job, I guess. So I've already installed the dependencies, obviously, but I need to do the following. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this because I don't really feel like typing that out. Oh, I have forgotten the bit there. Okay, so configuration is done. So continuing on, I think we should just take a look to make sure that I haven't inadvertently installed libsystemd. So and I haven't, so that's a good sign that I'm going to replicate the behavior that I'm looking for. So let's continue here. So let's just build sway, and what I'm gunning for here is a deliberate lockup. And okay, so that's done, and we can just go no, not target build, isn't it? And make install. So that's done. Okay, so at this point, I'm in the safety of a virtual machine, so you don't need to worry here that I'm going to smash my machine. But let's try this. So I'm going to stop stdm. That's going to drop me to the command prompt in a real TTY. I'm going to log in as Nick's user, and then I'm going to try and do a couple of things, and we'll see how our mileage goes. Okay, so you can just see we're in the normal TTY. Okay, and now I should be able to type sway in. Okay, so that was just an ld-config issue, so I can root in and just go ld-config and then quickly exit out and run sway. So, okay, so next thing is that I need to be a part of the input group. So I'm just going to create a root login and vmlord group. Okay, and let's do input, and I'm not in there, so let's go in there and put nix user in there and write and exit, and we'll need to exit out of this one as well. So control D, nix user. Okay, great. Now, okay, so I'm in sway, which is great. I actually love sway. There are a couple of little rough edges about it, but nonetheless I really enjoy using it. So that's okay. So we got into sway. Now I can exit out of it. Now that's great. I can exit out of it and get back to a TTY. But what happens if I actually go directly to a TTY? So let's just tell the virtual machine to go back to number 2, and I've just locked up. And this is really annoying for someone who doesn't know the intricacies of how this is working. This is really a bugbear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to exit out of this virtual machine for a moment, temporarily. I'm going to we just don't need that really. I'm going to go into the virtual machine. So, well, that's not going to work, is it? Because we don't have the input. So we're just going to reboot it. It won't take too long anyway. It's quite a fast virtual machine. So I'm going to explain exactly what happened there. It took me a little bit of hunting around to find out what indeed was going on. It's kind of disappointing because I didn't expect this sort of thing to happen. As I say, I love these sorts of projects that, you know, I remember when Sway was just sort of quite an immature project, and it's sort of come along very nicely. But here it is. I'll explain what's going on here. Okay, so there are other people who've complained about this sort of issue before. You know, Sway crashes during switching to another TTY. That's not that long ago, by the way. That's 2016. I don't know about these other issues, but nonetheless, there are some people who have these sorts of things. You can go and take a look, but a bit of hunting around, and in fact what we can do is, while I'm at it, is we can just move this over here. We're going to just find out what address we're on with this virtual machine. So IP address, and we better remember it this time, hey? So we're on 222. So basically, what the issue is a root permissions issue with a particular function call. And how I found this out was actually I logged the output of Sway with its debugging output. I took a look, and it turns out that if you're root, and I'll show you this right now, it's just kind of funny. If I go, how about we just get out of here. Okay, so I'm going to log in as root, and then I'm just going to, and this is really, I don't recommend it. I don't recommend you run desktop applications as root. It's a really bad idea. But I'll go Sway, okay, and what I can do is I can, no problem at all, I can go back to here and it'll work. So as root, I can do this. So what's the go? So yeah, as you can see, trouble in paradise there. But fortunately there is a fix. So basically I logged the output, and I determined that there was this function is not working properly. And I worked out for myself, okay, so root can do it, why not I just change nix user to have all the same permissions as root, just temporarily, and I did that, and it didn't work. So, okay, back to square one, and try and find out what's going on. After I did that, I worked out, okay, so WLC, I looked in the source code of WLC, in fact, and if I bring up Firefox again, WLC, and if I go Control F and Control V, oh, could not drop master. This is exactly the output on the log. It's actually coming from WLC's log, not from Sway's log itself. Okay, so cool. I'm sniffing a rat here, and okay, so I go back and I'm sort of sifting around and I find out exactly what's going on. and I'm like, okay, so let's think about login D. Okay, so let's go back to WLC and see exactly what's going on, because if I need root permissions, maybe systemd can help there, and that's where it hit the penny dropped. I'm like, okay, I can get this sorted and get it working. Now, I haven't tried something here for you guys. It would seem to me that there's getting rid of systemd out of the picture with this is probably not the best idea. I mean, systemd is fully integrated into a Debian install, but you can do it if you go into sway and you take a look at the README again. Okay, so vim README.md, you'll in fact see this bit here where you can set suid on the sway binary. You can suid, and I don't know if I really like this approach. It's a very Unix approach to it, but we do have a system and service manager, and I kind of think that it's the best way to do things is this way. Nonetheless, this works perfectly fine if you actually use systemd. So it wasn't very clear from this that you know, with regard to login D, what's going on. It's not very clear to me. So I show you what happens when you do it properly. Okay, so we're going to go into target, and another thing too is we're going to, in fact, let's just do this on another terminal. So apt install libxcb-dev. So okay, so let's just do this build again. So let's grab the, we've already done this, we've already done that. We just need to do this again and see what happens. And you'll see this time that systemd is not mentioned down here. Okay, and then I can just go into the directory of wc and make install. Oh, and again, just got to be careful. And that's done. And in fact, I could be very careful and just go into sway and rebuild it against the new WLC. It turns out it works anyway. Okay, and then make J3 and a build. You can see it's linking. This is important. Okay, and now we're going to install it. So we just go cd, and then we need to go to build, make install. And it's done. Okay, so now we get to test it again and see whether this bug can be replicated. Okay, so we'll stop stdm. So okay, great, and we'll log in as Nix user. Okay, and we can just type sway. Okay, and if we go back to the TTY, you see it's cooperative now. Now that we've got systemd on board helping us, yeah, everything is nice and cooperative. So let's have a look at one other aspect of this, and that is what happens when we exit out of sway. We get this danger bit, and that's because we didn't follow one instruction in the source code README. And the thing that we need to do is all about that. All about this setting capability. So we don't need the sudo bit on here. Okay, so it's done now. Now let's see if we get the desired behavior, and we'll just go back to TTY1 and we'll just type sway, and if we press exit, you can see no danger anymore. No danger, Will Robinson. So I'm just going to go back into sway and conclude here. So I spoke, well, here we go, we've got a freeze up again. I'm not entirely sure why. Everything's been actually quite peachy using sway so far, but I've had a couple of these lockups. But oh, here we go. Things playing nicely again. So just being slow. That's fine. fact. Let's view that full screen again, and we'll kill sway, and we'll try sway again. Yeah, that's nice. Oh, I'm getting high CPU usage. I bet that's what I'm getting here, is high CPU usage, and no idea why. Okay. Anyway, I conclude. Basically, apart from this lockup issue, which is fairly new to me, I mean, Sway has been pretty compliant today for me. I just wanted to add a couple of notes about this. I did get a reach out to the main lead developer of Sway and told him about my concerns about it not being well documented in the README file. He pointed me to the fact that it does have the set cap and all this sort of stuff in it, and but it doesn't really tell you why it's there, and it won't tell the person who's building this software why it's there, and they've got to kind of learn on the fly, which of course, compiling source code, you expect that sort of behavior. Nonetheless, it's a bit annoying because I think it will just take a line to say, hey, if you don't do the following, expect lockups if you go to a TTY, a real TTY. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please press the like button, and if you want to receive more of this content, press the subscribe button. I hope to see you in other future videos, so please share with your friends, and we'll see you next time. Alright now, bye-bye.